Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Queenhood podcast. Today is going to be a wonderful conversation. We have Miss Danielle here on the stage with us. How are you today?
I am good, Breye'l. How are you? No, we had a little technical difficulties, guys. So we are about 26 minutes behind schedule, but glad who can join and hear the combo,
Yes.
know?
Yes. It's very interesting that we had technical difficulties right there at the beginning because, kind of like we were mentioning, with all of your experience, right, that you've had in property management and in retail and all of those things, I know you remember and see it in individuals who are looking to interview or looking for that opportunity to be their opportunity. And then the day comes and there's technical difficulties, there's car issues, there's phone issues. If in our conversation today, we are talking about pushing and uncovering and evolving the narrative, can you please
Mhm.
share with the audience what was your perspective on the technical difficulties and how did you overcome the challenges?
Well, guess what? I'm still overcoming them now because it's starting to pour down rain from my patio. So, it's all about um, overcoming adversity, which
Yeah.
is and me being in the industry looking at being in the different industries and different things, you have to because you're always going to be set up for different times. So, a la customer service, a la in the retail dynamic, property management dynamic, private sectors, government. You always are going to have to overcome some form of adversity, challenges, things of that nature. And then, honestly, when I think that that happens, that sets you up
Yep.
because it's showing you how you can navigate through a lot. So I really, really feel that though that is a great pro, but it also has the cons of how someone can handle it.
Yep. Emphasis on how they can handle it because we're talking about the narrative. So before we
Mhm.
jump all the way into the narrative, can you share with the audience a little bit about yourself? What would you like the people to know about you?
Oh my goodness. So I am close to being 48, Leo season. Yay! Leo on August 4th. I am the mom of two sets of twin girls. I always say when I have an interview or I'm speaking to different people that I'm a mom of two sets of twins, 17 years apart, one set paternal, one set identical, all girls. So go figure for the dad,
Yeah.
uh, having to deal with that. But having that, and then also being in the property management industry, going over 20, about to be close to 22 years. And what I tell people is because I was already in the retail sales spectrum of things of that nature, while I was that was to sales, service, um, things of that nature. And I just wanted to branch out because I was doing retail and sales for so many years, but this provided me a little bit of stability. So you come in with that customer service where you're in a store or you're dealing with customers coming in and out, whereas you're in an office setting. And I wanted to try that out. Oddly enough, leasing agent in '02 from a Craigslist. Loved it. Every day was different. And then I just worked my way up through the ranks as a leasing consultant to now senior community manager, working in different residential conventional settings. So depending on the property, the community's needs, I've had experience in that.
Yeah.
So that's where I am right now.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. You speaking about the ranks, moving up in the ranks, right? On this podcast, we dive deep into the confidence that it takes to do those things. And when we spoke in our one of our previous conversations, you said that you're going to have to coin this term about the undercover competitiveness. Can you help the audience understand your perspective on it? And then how do they overcome going through that and growing through that?
Mhm. So definitely in the property management industry, and I've been in other industries as well. Um, let me first point out there are so many positive entities that pour into you, pour into your growth, pour into your being, pour into your mental health for that matter.
Yeah.
And I had some really, really wonderful mentors and people that have come into my life. Let me start there. But one of the things that really, really stuck out to me was one of the property managers that I had worked for, who is now the VP of property management, always said, you have to be in uncomfortable situations. And that really stuck with me because I was always that sideline. You know, I never wanted to be in any public eye, public forum. I told you that when I was in college in a class, public speaking,
Yeah.
just speaking in front of people and just having that leverage. So, you know, you have to have people to hear you. You know, think outside of the box. Do things that know others who with the community, you know, because you're yourself, others are themselves.
Yeah.
So I had to really, really take that in and take heed to that.
Yeah.
And then that obviously drew me to different challenges in the workplace, you know, where I've been and where I'm seeing myself to go. And there has been challenges that I'm like, oh my goodness. But then I always re-reference back to that. So I don't never consider myself a boss, supervisor. I mentioned to you earlier, it's from a leader coaching stance
Yeah.
because you want to pour into others. You want to pour into them. You want to make them feel that they are something and that they can be guided. So that's what I have learned throughout this industry. And what I mean by the undercover competitiveness, because and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the reality of property management, but you know, everyone, you know, you want to gain. If you're in this industry and you want to grow, then you're going to be there for a team. But then on the other part, guess what? You want to show your skills. You want to show what you can bring to the table. So that is what I mean by an undercover competitiveness that is kind of like that silent tier of the industry because it changes. It's ever evolving. You see constructions every day. You see different communities are being built, different managements, different companies,
Right.
and it's taking over. And I always tell people, you know, the four things you're always going to have: hospitals, cemeteries, grocery stores, and somewhere to live. So if you can definitely take from that and know, guess what, you know, it's going to grow, it's ever evolving. Guess what, we have AI now,
Yeah.
police AI, we have the airline, Spirit is gone, so now Jet Zero is making its mark in Greensboro. So um, it's ever changing and evolving. You know, management companies that you've never even heard of, they're coming into play. So it's all about learning. And I'm one that I just don't sit still. I got to keep doing something. My family is like, what do you know, like sit still, you know? And for me, just being laid off in January, in the middle of January, it's allotted me a lot of time to just kind of sort of like reinvent myself. So like, hey, what are the next steps? What am I going to do? So yeah, if that answers your, that was a long-winded version.
Those are my type of answers.
Yes, yes, that's yes.
Yes, hence the fact that I have the podcast. That
Yeah.
you said so much goodness right there, and it really empowers leaders, not even just
Mm-hmm,
women, but leaders to know sometimes your real next level is uncovered during
mm-hmm,
unforeseen circumstances. And like you
mm-hmm,
said,
mm-hmm,
getting when we try to sometimes get out of our comfort zone or even stay in our comfort zone, life has a
mm-hmm,
funny way of saying, oh, you thought you were just going to level 4? Well, I'm about to take you to level 6.
mm-hmm. And
So,
or if that means stepping back a little bit, taking a step back
mm,
and just being still, you
yeah,
know? So I think that's where I am right now. This is the season for, at this point, it's being still. You know, I re-enrolled back in school, you know, pursuing my degree. spending more time with my family,
Yes.
things like that. So you have to mix the pros and the cons. And guess what? It's not going to be like this forever.
Yep.
You're going to grow. You're going to pick back up, maybe in a different alignment. You just don't know,
Yep.
And I have a true, true, strong faith base. Like you also mentioned, the village, people that are pouring into you. I have mentors, I have colleagues that I've worked with. I'm not going to do any plugs because I didn't ask their consent yet, but they know who they are. So I have this pouring of persons that pour into me and just keep that level head and that positive approach to say, hey,
Mhm.
then, it's messed up how certain things may go, but it's going to be okay. So,
Yes.
and I have 4 daughters. I have 4 daughters. So that's another perspective where I got to look at like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's another episode.
Yes. That that's the next level when you really think about it. Like
Mm-hmm,
stillness is a level. And again,
mm-hmm,
sometimes you may, as women, we tend to want to strive to feel like eight, nines, and tens in the workplace. And then sometimes
mm-hmm,
when life puts us in predicaments where it's time for us to go back into the home, our identity is sometimes shaken or unknown because we've poured so much into the workplace. So it's never even
mm-hmm,
really a con when we go back to that identity because to our question of the episode, what's our next level? What if your new next level is in this season being a better mom, being a better
mm-hmm,
wife, being a
mm-hmm.
better
Yeah,
homemaker? So that way, when you do get back into the industry, you can create with a new identity versus feeling like, oh, well, this was my old identity. And though I had this pause, I want to try to use that same identity, but that's not
mm-hmm.
growth.
Exactly, exactly. And that's the whole part of the matter. And I think right now I'm relishing through all of that, being a better mom, sitting still, the work aspect, it has all of these different layers and revelations for me right now. So, I take it all in stride. And yeah, everybody, look, I am not perfect Patty by far. We're all going to have those days where you don't want to get up, you don't want to do this or negativity, the devil just comes through in so many ways, shapes, and forms. So, I try to just keep pushing forward. And like I said, I can't keep still. So when my body says I'm tired, I'm tired. I'm gonna relax.
Yeah.
But if I have to be productive, no matter what that is. Maybe I'll do an extra clean of the house. Maybe I'll go to the library. Maybe I will go online, seek this out, do this, do that. So it just all depends. So it's one thing to have these platforms, which I'm so appreciative of you doing this and taking the time out because again, the next level, what working work life balance,
Yep.
we're working moms, we have our children, we have this that we have to sustain. So, life when life it lives,
Yeah.
but it's just all about how you navigate through it. So
Yes.
absolutely. Yep.
Yes. If we can ask, what
Yes.
advice would you give to women who are used to being comfortable with who they are and now life is putting them in new rooms? Maybe someone listening to our episode was just a assistant manager, maybe not even just in property management, because as we see
Mhm,
again, it's very inclusive, just like retail. So
mhm,
maybe a woman listening, she used to be an assistant manager and now she's moving up to a senior property manager,
mhm,
and she was unaware that she would
mhm,
have to go into these new rooms and be a
mhm.
representation of the property of the company. What advice would you give her when she walks in and she feels that competitive energy because these properties have are the best lease up properties or they're
Yeah,
class A? What advice would you give her for owning the room?
absolutely. So I've done this a couple of times. And like I said, you're only what my narrative, what my mentors have instilled in me, and what people that I've worked in the industry, you're only as good as your team. So my philosophy and what my former property management used to tell me is if you're in this seat 2 years or more, something's wrong. So
Mm.
you want to put them in the rooms. Like I said, the colleagues like on being using mentors. I'm just going to put their names out there. I have Ryan Wall, who is an amazing being. I have Latonya Martin, who is an amazing being that I have been working with and just met. also humbles. They're on the vendor side of things. But
Hmm.
these women have basically put me in rooms or had conversations with others where I would never even have thought, you know. And that's just recent with me moving down here. I have way more people. Like I said, have to have maybe like a weekly episode and stuff. But they put me in rooms to meet different people and or put my name out there. And you have to do that because, like I said, public speaking, meeting people, going to different ones, I am totally standoffish. Was. So very standoffish, very guarded
Yeah.
in that sense, where, what do I say or what do I do or how would this be received or
Yes.
things like that. So you have to put yourself out there and speak up.
Yeah.
You have to speak because they won't know. You don't know what they may say if you don't speak up. So that is what I've learned and continuously is learning. That's why I said I branched out and
Yeah.
decided to do this when you sent the invite. And I said, you know what? Take a step out. One step can maybe mean 10 steps
Yeah.
forward. Denzel Washington said it best. You take the 5 steps, or I can't quote all the way, but take those steps and then get pushed back 7 or 8. But I'm looking at the forward,
Yep.
so you have to. And another thing that I've learned is leading by example,
Yep.
leading by example, you know, and I, I, I don't know. I'm just strong willed, I guess. It's in the genes, it's my family, I'm just not one to just settle and
Yeah.
just sit, Right now, it's just that season that is coming upon me. So, yeah.
Yes, I love that. If I can share with you my framework that I love to use when I'm coaching in reference to what
Hmm.
we're talking about of being in the rooms is RAD, RAAD, right? And I
Okay.
believe in the power of our radical mind. And so when
Hmm.
we speak about power, it's the difference between seeing that
Hmm.
10 times 2 is 20,
Hmm.
10 to the second power is 100, right?
Mm.
And so, if we could see power from that perspective, chemistry, physics, mathematics, and then
Hmm.
we know our brain is of
Hmm.
the same type of energy, when we get into
Yes.
the rooms, if we see ourselves as radically confident, right? We can go through these 4 steps. With the R is to release. If we learn
Hmm.
how to release limiting beliefs, release believing that when we walk into the room, people are going to judge us or they're going to think we don't belong or that our voice isn't good enough.
Hmm.
If we can release those limiting beliefs and then we can get into the A, alignment, right?
Hmm.
And I even added another A, accomplish,
Hmm.
right? And then if we could dream of seeing ourselves with where we want to be in the 2 years, right? Because when you
Hmm.
have mentors who set you up and align you with that positive mindset, and which that's so good, you
Hmm.
have no choice but to dream. Because once you're in the seat, 2 years, I have a
There you go.
2-year-old, and it felt like I just had him the other day, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's like you have to dream and you have to be radical about the dreams because if not, you will make the next move in a complacent energy
Hmm.
versus seeing if I release these limiting beliefs and then I align with the right people, like what we're doing right now, the
Exactly.
people who I align with will automatically help me accomplish
Hmm.
my goals and dreams. And so now when a woman uses this framework and she
Hmm.
moves inside of this energy, we're
Hmm.
now doing 10 to the second power versus 10 times 2 because we know the energy we're
Exactly.
putting out there is so much more powerful.
Exactly, exactly. And I couldn't agree with you more because, like I always say, it's not an I, like Kobe Bryant said, it's not an I in team, So it takes all of us to be in these rooms
Yes.
and not just thinking about it or seeing where it's going to go. You have to put yourself out there because if you don't, no one else, they can guide you, but it's ultimately what you want to do, and
Yeah.
where your mindset is right now. So, again, that's what I'm just trying to build and instill with my daughters, be those strong. courageous women in this world, because you need that right now, you know.
Yep.
We have to just keep pushing that envelope. And I'm so, like I said, appreciative of everyone throughout my life that has just helped me along, because they're just like, girl, every time I hear it's like, whew, two sets of twins, 17 years apart. How did you do it? How you? And I'm just like, I did it. God, number one. And then two, it's just you have to keep pushing. You have to keep pushing. Like I said, every day is not the best. I'm not perfect by far. And I just want to keep going as best possible. Yep,
Yes, I love
absolutely.
that. Oh, I love that. When we're talking pushing the narrative today, what
Hmm.
is so powerful as well is putting your voice out there. And what I've
Hmm.
seen in the industry is that a lot of leaders are afraid to put their voice out there because they
Hmm.
fear being reprimanded, or they fear that someone will not understand what it is that they're trying to speak of, especially
Hmm.
when we're talking about rediscovering an identity, whether it's personally or professionally. And what I
Hmm.
love about how you're starting to put your voice out there is you're leading with something that's unique to you, which is two sets of twins, one set that's identical, one set that's fraternal. It's okay to share that type of information because, again, it's
Hmm.
what makes you unique, and then it makes you lean in. And I hope that this episode and how we're speaking about this will empower other people to know it's okay to share a little bit of personal, because we want to connect
Exactly.
on a human level. And with AI
Exactly.
being so powerful right now, it's like
Hmm.
you almost are winning because you're sowing intentional seeds and authentic seeds. So even if
Hmm.
you may not already have your book, even if you may not already have your podcast, even if you
Hmm.
may not know your business or your next step that you want to take in the arena that you want to take in property management, you doing something like this and simply just speaking up about your truth, you're
Hmm.
already going to your next level.
Yeah. And you have to empower yourself. I know that there's the huge phrase of women empowerment, which is so, oh my God, you can't understand. I have a list of women. But at the end of the day, you have to start first with empowering of yourself. So when you have that part, you can really go further. And it's being consistent. Another thing is a lot of what people don't understand. And I watch a lot of documentaries. Ask my family in the house right now. I watch a lot of documentaries. Not that I'm nosy, but you just always learn from certain people. You have those trinkets. It's not about the celebrity stature to a degree, because I have family members that I can that have played a huge part. But then I can look at a documentary. So most recent, it was the Tyler Perry one, it was the Benjamin Crump one, it was also Quincy Jones one, where all those little trinkets of stuff where I'm just like, hey, come on now, I'm gonna put some female in there now. Come
Oh
on,
yeah.
I want my ladies to think that. But no, it's just a whole lot of little different little trinkets that I get from each. One, definitely Michelle Obama's,
Oh right.
the documentaries and things like that, the attorneys and stuff, reading, doing a lot of stuff. So, again, if you have to figure out where you want to go. And
Yes.
even if that just means a little step, little baby step. Right now, it's just like, well, how are you doing this with this? Or how are you doing? You can do it. There was a young lady that passed her bar exam,
Hmm.
became a lawyer, and she had 5 children. So it's
Yeah.
like you, we can do it. It's
Yeah.
not a matter of can or can. We can do it. It's just
Yeah.
putting your mind forward to that, like what you're doing. You have your children, I have my children, but we're still making a way. And even if that's a few minutes, couple of hours, whatever, So everything can be done. Everything can be done. Definitely faith. I have a strong huge relationship with God, and just getting through a lot when I can't talk to nobody. So um yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
would say. Just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you, it really is a yeah, because what happens when a narrative get changes, it starts at the
Hmm.
mindset. It starts with the story that we tell ourselves. It starts with us
Hmm.
putting ourselves inside a predicament where we're able to see that if we tell ourselves it's capable of happening, then inevitably, one second, let me get my baby. He's
Oh, no, no, no. I understand. Mine are quiet. I'm surprised.
yes. Can you go back out there with your daddy, please? I'm trying to record the podcast episode. Can you go? Yes. Can you go? Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Now, can you please get him? I'll see you later. Thank you. We're back.
Look, back to regularly scheduled programs. And again,
Literally.
that's a part of life. Yeah, that's what happened also. So, it's that balancing act that we're doing on a day to day to
Yeah.
just push through and get through. So, I totally get it fully.
Yes, and then honestly, that's what I love about the freedom of having my podcast. And I want more women to know that when you create something outside of the place that you work at, sometimes it's
Hmm.
hard to see that you have a level of freedom that you may not have in the workplace, right?
Hmm.
And of course, the skills are transferable, and that's great. But what
Hmm.
happens is, like we're talking about, the narrative changes. Maybe when you
Hmm.
started, your children were young. Maybe when you get started, your children are older. I just had a discovery call with a lady right before we got on, and she was saying she's a recent empty nester, right? And so now
Wow.
she's ready to start gardening. She's ready to start focusing on her health. And that's
Go, empty nesters. Go.
yes. And so now the narrative changes. But imagine if the narrative and the mindset is, I'm too old for this. Now's not the time for this. I don't have any
No.
experience. My resume
Hmm.
doesn't reflect that. If more women and leaders could see you are the resume, and if your narrative mentally puts you
Hmm.
inside of a predicament to say that you're worthy and that you should go
Hmm.
forward, we definitely need more people to go for the next level. But again, when we ask ourselves what's the next level, you have to like
Hmm.
go inside and get that, because you can go for the role, but then what happens when something terrible happens, or you put your whole
Hmm.
into the role, but then the role gets closed or cold
Yeah,
or
you get a curveball. You get a curveball. Exactly. And to piggyback off of what you said, I had a classmate when I had my second attempt at college. He was a little over 50 and he was going to pre-law. So again, that's never too late to push and accomplish what you're trying to do. And
exactly.
hopefully, yeah, I'm sure he succeeded way past now, but he was going for pre-law and he was just starting at a little over the age of 50. So it doesn't matter what age, what color, what stock, none of that. It's just if you have a goal set, then that's what you want to go for, then it'll go. It's just the consistency part and just having those people in your village pouring to you, giving you that motivation. Excuse the background. Having that
Yeah.
motivation, having that consistency with you, and giving you that positive energy that you need.
Yes, that's so powerful. Let me review our notes, make sure I didn't forget anything, because when we took our notes, I know we had some really, really, really good stuff.
I
Let's
know.
talk about behind the scenes,
Hmm.
right? I remember you mentioning it. That's a realm that you want to go into. So, how do you find the sweet spot of revealing behind the scenes of property management or of leadership? How have you found the sweet spot of revealing that, but while also maintaining a level of, I'm not going to use the word secrecy because that's not the word, but like that
Hmm.
barrier of, I can help you see some behind the scenes, but there's still parts of yourself that you have to level up to even get to being able to experience that being.
Hmm. And again, it's based on the circles,
Hmm.
the persons that are putting you in those rooms, and just honestly just keeping up with the industry. So,
Mm,
with the apartment industry, you have your different associations, you have tons of literature, you have different regionals, senior regionals, directors, assistant directors that are always either posting or attending conferences, giving you that knowledge of
yes.
what it is to get to that next step. So I want to gradually approach that because that aspect. behind the scenes is obviously very challenging, and you have to be and have the I would say the right, what word would I use? So you would necessarily, one, have to have the strong will.
Mm-hmm.
You will have to be consistent,
Yes.
and ultimately, not just with me being a property manager and working, give an example, and over a 500 unit complex with a team of maybe about 10 to 13. Now we're talking about portfolios. Now
Yes.
we're getting to the layerings of it, in which you're dealing with different communities, different teams, number of teams, number of apartments, what that apartment is, either a class
Mm,
A, luxury, lease up, or even going down to your furthest is the class D's, et cetera. So it does garner different challenges, but it's all about if you want to have that. So
yes.
for me, I would say from a behind the scenes perspective, it's just consistently gaining that knowledge, because you can guide your way up through the tiers. So your area managers, associate regional managers. And if
Mm,
you have one, a supportive company that
yeah.
wants to see you grow, because that be realistic, that is the main thing. You want to be able and be with a company that sees your value and wants to pour into you, you know. And they're invested
Right.
in you. You want to be able to have that. And if you have that support, you can go the full way. And again, there was regions, there were um, PMs, different colleagues that poured into me, and I've learned something from every one that I've worked with, or even my team. You know, I talk to my teams to this day that I work with, because it's just that nurturing factor. Whereas the boss, the supervisor, can kind of give a negative connotation. So I just like to look at it not necessarily pointing from money, but guess what? I knew, and I'm going to fight for my team. I tell my team all the time, I'm going to fight for you. I'm
Yes.
going to be your back, and give
Yeah.
me that fire. I'll take it. So,
Yeah.
I talk to them to this day, and it's the relationships that you build, and how to move forward.
Yep. And when you were saying that, that's exactly what I was thinking about is the relationship building piece. That's how I've gotten
Hmm.
to where I am, and that's how I plan to continue to move forward is building
Yeah.
relationships. It's a game changer because what happens is as we evolve and then we
Hmm.
meet the next people, it's the evolved versions of ourselves that's meeting them. And so I can
Exactly.
honestly think to let me see if we're in 2026, 3 years ago. I started my business
Hmm.
6 years ago, but 3 years
Hmm.
ago I can see how me reaching out to you, I may have been like a little intimidated or fearful, only because when people go on LinkedIn and then they see your title and they see the bios, sometimes we let that get into our space to say,
Hmm.
she's so much more qualified than me. She knows everything. Like, what will I bring to the table? What type of conversation?
Exactly.
Yep. But then we evolved and we change our narrative. And I knew that my next level would be leadership development in the property management realm. When I saw
Hmm.
that, then when I had to again start changing the narrative within myself and pushing the narrative to say many property managers are not familiar with confidence coaching from a personal and a professional realm,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And so I had to teach that. I have to
Hmm.
expose that. I have to change the narrative. I have to put myself out there with this narrative to say, I know that y'all can just give them that online training, but I'm not an online trainer. I mean, I can work online for you, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
You
the
need the visual, the in person, the on site, all of that. Yeah, yeah. And that really helps. One, it instills in them the different skill sets, how
yeah,
persons work in person. Online, I can do that now, but it does help them because it is going to prepare them for the next level.
yeah,
And with the teams and everyone that I've worked with, that's what they do. They want to pour into you. They want to show you this. And piggybacking off of what you said with the experience and the bios and things like that. I used to be in some of those things like that
hmm
because I'm like, guess what? I'm not aligned with that. I don't know, or, how do I be, how would I approach this? But now,
Yeah.
no, I want to know. It's like, guess what, but in my situation or anybody's situation for that matter, what can we do to not necessarily meet where you are, but to elevate, to
Right.
evolve? Like you said, you want to be able to grow. And I never want to be stagnant.
Right.
I can't be stagnant, can't be complacent because you want to constantly grow within yourself. You want to learn different stuff and just be good, better than what you were. And so, like I
Exactly.
said, I'd like to share that with my daughters. Just like, don't be stagnant, don't be complacent. Let's um, be able to figure out a plan.
Yeah.
Now, a la fifth attempt at college, okay. Now, most people would kind of be ashamed of that and say anything or even speak to it. It's just like, guess what? When I got my degree, you're here. But no, I'm not ashamed to say
Yep.
this is my fifth time. Guess what? I'm going to do it now.
Yep.
It's the shifts, it's how God just aligns different stuff. And I know that I can do it. I just have to remain consistent. I wasn't ready then, obviously.
Yep.
Um, I took another approach and just focused on career and
Yeah.
family and all of that. So, it everything happens for a reason. I always say that. So I totally get it.
Yes. Mm. This is a really
Mhm.
good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really good conversation. I hope that the listeners are able to see and know that the only person that can truly push the narrative is ourselves, is you. And
Exactly.
the next level is us against us. It's not
Mhm.
directly my job title was, and then now it's going to be, versus this is who I was, and then this is who I'm
Mhm.
striving to be. And then, like you said, to recap, as long as you put yourself in the rooms with the right
Mhm.
people, you don't have to know all of the knowledge, because the people that
Mhm.
you connect with, they have strategy, they have guidance, they have wisdom. Sometimes you're the seed, sometimes you're the soil. You just never want to be the saboteur.
Exactly. 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 And that's the main thing. And I do also know, with all of that being said, that there's so much more to do. There's so much more, like, growth and things within whatever industry you're going to work. As you see, there's a nonstop with technology, with our children, just a whole nother caliber right now. So whatever little bit that you can contribute, then I'm all for it. But
Yes.
I love this.
Yeah, we know it will be a nice, easy, simple conversation.
Mhm.
If you would like to tell the audience where and how they can connect with you.
Absolutely. So right now it's through LinkedIn, Danielle
Mhm.
Wingfield. I did not do a YouTube channel just yet, but right now with Breye'l, I see that you're guiding me to that. I'm gonna get it. But I'm on Instagram, Danny August, in its Roman numeral 1B. Uh, and then Facebook, Danny Wingfield.
Mhm.
And definitely, I would love to connect, network. I think right now it's not a it's about what you know, but it's also in who you know,
Yes.
as well, to help you along the way to
Yes.
certain things. So um, I appreciate you taking the time out, um, being there, and just guiding me through this. So I again thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, but guess what? It's going to be good on the next one.
Yes. It's definitely going to be good.
Absolutely.
We're going to have a next one.
Yeah.
Yes, we're definitely going to have a next one.
Yeah.
Yes. For
Well,
audience,
thank you so much.
yes, you're definitely welcome. Thank you. Okay, like, thank you. Your energy, your aura, your knowledge, your wisdom, it definitely has helped me see even more within myself, just from simply talking to you, just from simply
Mhm.
connecting. And then I know that this episode is evergreen. It doesn't matter if a person listens to it tomorrow, it doesn't matter if they listen to it 5 years from now. The wisdom that you brought onto our episode today is really going to set the tone for women. And I focus on women because we're like the best.
Yeah.
But for women leaders to know,
Hmm.
as long as they change the narrative within themselves and put themselves in
Hmm.
a room and know there's the competition is us. And if
There you
they're
go.
open, inevitably they'll make the right connections.
Absolutely. And you keep doing your thing. I appreciate you. I'm all for women empowerment and us just guiding and being there for one another. It's not about any malice or any um, underlines or competition. You know, it's
Yep.
about elevating each other. So if it's positive, then that's what we need. Okay. But
Yes.
thank you so much. And
You're
you have
definitely
a wonderful evening with your family.
yes, I definitely will. So, listeners, we are wrapping up our conversation right now. I want to leave our listeners with this affirmation. It's definitely about progress and it's never about perfection because if it was
Mhm.
not for progress, we wouldn't even be on this call right
There you go. There you
now.
go.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Danielle. Thank you so much
Thank
for our
you.
listeners. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Bye bye. Shout out, Queen Hood.
That's
Keep
right.
doing your
Queen
things.
Queenhood. I already
Bye
know
bye.
it. Queenhood. Let's